offer you this lesson from Unity of the Keys Spiritual Center. We are gathered. We are gathered in beloved community. And we take a breath. Let's do that together. Let's take a breath. For it has been as if we've been holding our breath. We've been holding our breath with all that we have experienced, that we have seen, that we've walked through and are continuing to walk through. We've been holding our breath with the bombardment of our senses. And so as we come together, it's more than a sigh of relief. It's knowing that this is the space where we can truly exhale. Many of you may remember the novel, and the movie, and the book from the 90s, Waiting to Exhale. It was a story about 4 friends and their many experiences and often failures at romantic relationships, and each one of them was looking for that connection where they felt safe, where they could be themselves, and where they could exhale. That is beloved community. And that is what we have been yearning for, and what we so appreciate about being together. That opportunity to be ourselves, to exhale with all of our blemishes and imperfections, to be us, to be authentic, and to be surrounded by people who will accept us and our blemishes and our imperfections. We don't find that often in our lives. Reverend Jim Rosemergy, who recently retired from Unity of Fort Myers, and I know is a friend to you all, has been here, has this book called The Gathering. It's a lovely little book. And he talks about gathering. He says a gathering is a group of spiritual friends blessing one another, and through their collective consciousness, blessing the world. He goes on to say the key factor is a unity of spirit of those who gather. It does not matter, it doesn't say that here, I'm adding it. It does not matter what our religious or spiritual background is. The unity of spirit is simply our intention to connect, to be here and to see each other for the beautiful bright lights that you are, that we each are. He says, imagine the growth to be experienced and the power unleashed by spiritual seekers united in an allegiance to the practice of prayer and meditation, joined by a need to explore the mysteries of the infinite, and whose commitment to such endeavors is unwavering. Reverend Rosemergy is describing beloved community. And so, over the past several weeks, we have been tested, each one of us, and we've been tested in ways that we probably don't even know right now. In some of the ways, we've been tested for good. For initially, when it was pre-Irma, our egos got to be in charge. And can you imagine how wonderful that was for our egos? Because we so rarely let our egos serve as that protector for us, that survivor for us, that look out, look out, you have to watch out, there's danger everywhere. And I was preparing this, I was thinking about our Keith Lapp. And I was thinking about his poor ego. He goes into a store and his ego goes, oh, that person doesn't look like you. Oh, that person's different. What does he do? He hugs them. He bear hugs them. And his ego's probably going, oh, he didn't listen to me again. Didn't listen to me again. But these past weeks, our ego has been in charge, has said, go buy your water, go get your canned goods, evacuate or not, whatever. Our ego has gotten to be in charge. My daughter was talking to me on the phone this week, and she said it's like pre-hurricane, everyone's, each man for themselves. That's, you run to the store and you get your bottled water and you go home, then you tell your friends where you got the water. But then after the hurricane, and Sherry was sharing this with me, after the hurricane, your heart opens up and you share whatever you have and you say, hey, there's water over there. There's food over there. Your hearts open up, and that's so much of what we're seeing right now with people from all over the world coming here and opening their hearts to us and to so many others that have been affected. And as humans, we need that. We need the opportunity to give of ourselves. And right now, there's so many people who need to receive that. And we get to be that light and that love, for we get to tell our egos, your time is done. You did a really good job. Now get in the back seat and let my love heart be in charge. For our egos need to be right. They need to be affirmed. And unfortunately, with that, it makes others wrong. Who evacuated, who didn't, who came back, when did they come back, why haven't they come back? That's our ego. That's all ego stuff. We release that so that we can come from that authentic space of our hearts, recognizing the light and the love in each person. They don't have to prove that to us. It is a given. Now this yearning, this heart missing, may have been a surprise to some of you all. It was so strong that last Sunday, without electricity, Unity Unplugged met. 33 individuals got together in the heat in this room, just to be together. Perhaps you knew you would miss your family, but you were surprised at the intensity. Or perhaps you kept that at bay. I'm so busy, I'm not even going to think about that. And busy is something that's easy to be right now. There is so much to do, so much to take care of, so very much. But that heart yearning, that missing, has been present for all of us in the past few weeks. And it's wonderful that we've kept together with texting and Facebook and calls and emails. But we need each other. Now, I know people, and you probably know people too, who say, I don't need to go to church. I don't need community. I can meditate at home. I can watch something on the television. I can read inspiring passages. I can go into that, deep, deep, deep meditation. And that's all I need. And I think that's beautiful. That's not me. I need community. I need community to remind me of where my growing edges are. I need community to interact so I know where I still need to grow and where I can give the love that is mine to give. And I'm not making anyone who doesn't do that wrong. I just know what's right for me. And within Unity, there was a beautiful article written by Reverend Robert Brummett, a Unity minister and one of my former professors, who talked about within our spiritual life, there's 3 stages. The first one is where we wake up. We wake up and go, oh wow, I am a beautiful child of God. I possess within me all the wisdom, all the love, all the guidance, all the power I ever needed. And that, for most of us, goes so against how perhaps we had been raised up to that point. And then we grow up, and to grow up, we need those interactions. We need to be with people. We need to learn. We need to spread our wings. And then the third phase is to show up, to be there for others, to be the love for others, to be the space of acceptance for others. And this church community keeps that forefront when we plan our classes and our workshops, so that we are trying to provide for all 3 of those areas. And it's not linear. We zigzag around. We take our time. Sometimes we fall back to sleep, and then we have one another to remind us of who we really are. For beloved community, is an ancient story. It is a story that we carry with us within our heart and within our bones. It has been passed down through our ancestors to us. It is not a story we make up. It is a story we remember. It is the story of our brilliance, our beauty, our power, and our giftedness. It is the awareness that these elements, these gifts are not just ours, but everyone. Ours and one another's. Ours and every creature of the earth. Ours and all the elements. That this brilliance and beauty, power and giftedness is alive in everyone and everything. And it draws us together in bonds of love and to help us remember. Sometimes we're holding the space for another, sometimes they're holding the space for us, and it might be in the same conversation. That's what we do. That's what we do. Thich Nhat Hanh called this the interbeing. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. called this beloved community. Jesus Christ, our way shower, called this the kingdom of heaven. And when we turn to the Gospel of John, there are several chapters there. The 13th, the 31st verse through the 17th and the 26th verse that is sometimes called the farewell or the last or the final discourse. For this is the teachings, these are the teachings that Jesus was giving his disciples at the Last Supper, for he knew what the day held for him the following day. So he was trying to tell them to summarize everything that he'd been teaching during his 3 years of ministry. And for those of us that were together in the last class of Jesus' teachings, we know what that first and foremost teaching is. Love one another. Love one another. And love God. For Jesus began his ministry by building beloved community, by calling people together, by breaking bread with them, by traveling, not carrying any supplies, trusting that all will be provided, accepting all, and exemplifying for us, showing us how we're to be in this world. We're to be there for one another. We're to love one another. So the final discourse embraces beloved community, if not using those exact words. I love those words, for it so aptly describes what I feel here and who we are. For beloved community is honored and lived into every time we participate with one another in the experiences of life, where we experience and witness loss and pain, joy and wonder. Every time we share the truth of who we are, we share the truth, and we know that the people around us are free to share their truth, and we know that it will be understood, for we speak the same language. When we see everyone in our life as a gift from Spirit, and not only a gift from Spirit, but an individual that we make room for in our hearts and in our world, for they are not there by accident. No one. This is not random. And when we give expression to our feelings and are grateful for being able to hold that space to allow others to express their feelings, when we affirm wholeness, when everything appears to be broken, we can recognize, certainly identify with that now. And when we carefully and lovingly untie any knots of misunderstanding, of disagreement, or confusion to get to the other side. For we're committed to being there, to examining our lives, to try to find out what's going on. Where am I coming from? Where are they coming from? Let me just love them and we'll figure this out. And we honor and we walk into beloved community when we make a covenant. And we do. When we join the church, we make a covenant. And then live that covenant faithfully and joyously. Beloved community is not something off in the distance that we'll get to someday. It is right here. It is right now. Beloved community is whenever we engage our power and our heart in that dynamic dance of life. And we so missed that. We yearned for that. For we are committed not to express separation, but connection. Not resistance, but creativity. Not denial, but mindfulness. We are, beloved community, and regardless of all the appearances, to the contrary, we know we belong to one another. God bless you.